Torrance Gibson is a Buckeye, maybe, until February. We'll see what happens. But the 5-star quarterback recruit from Florida has given a verbal commitment to Ohio State. Ari, there are lots of quarterbacks here now. Joey Burrow is going to be a part of this class with Torrance Gibson. Braxton Miller and J.T. Barrett are going to be around next year. Is there room for Torrance Gibson? Are they sure they can take him?
I think he has to know Joey Burrow coming in the same class of Braxton. You just named it. You have to know making this commitment that you're probably going to redshirt if you're Torrance Gibson. And, in this day and age of college football, some of the best 5-star quarterbacks in recent memory have done that. So, Jameis Winston comes to mind. But, I think sometimes early playing time might not always be an indication of what the right place for you is. And sometimes if you go to the wrong place, then that getting on the field early becomes a secondary issue to the bigger picture, which is you're not in the right spot. So for him, he thought Ohio State was the right place. It's going to be a crowded quarterback room next year, especially if Braxton Miller actually does come back. But Urban Meyer wants prospects that want to be a part of competition like that, not ones that shy away from it.
Quick context, how big of a deal is this commitment? It's a 5-star guy from Florida. How big of a deal is Torrance Gibson committing to Ohio State?
I think it's a pretty big deal. I mean, you look at Ohio State's recruiting class in general, there's not a lot of star power in it. If you take out Justin Hilliard from Cincinnati, a 5-star linebacker, a lot of people were worried. I think a lot of people were like, well, why is this not a top 5 class? Because that's all Urban Meyer has done since he's been here. And I think now Ohio State with Gibson has jumped into the top 8 of 24/7's rankings. Still have some big names out there. Damian Harris is one. He's kind of trending, I think a lot of people think, towards Kentucky, but he's still out there. 4 or 5 other 5-star, 4-star prospects Ohio State's still on, and I still think they're in the hunt for a top 5 class, and Gibson's certainly a big part of it.
So other schools were recruiting Torrance Gibson at maybe a different position. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know that he felt secure in all the other programs of him keeping him at quarterback. I think a lot of them said you'll get your shot, but it's kind of a fine line. Like, how much time, if you promise somebody they're being recruited as a quarterback, do you get? Is it 1 spring? Is it 1 year? 2 years?
So he's now planning to come to Ohio State, and I think we do everything we say with this is the caveat. Signing days in February, they're going to keep recruiting this guy. You don't sit back on your laurels and say, oh, we got him. Other teams are going to still be on him, just like Urban Meyer and the Buckeyes recruit other committed kids, like with Jerome Baker, who just flipped. So Ohio State has to keep recruiting him as well. We can't see the future. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't have inside information on this. But do you think Torrance Gibson in the end will be a quarterback at Ohio State, or do you think there's a chance he'll be something else? Jalin Marshall was a great high school quarterback. He's a great H-back for Ohio State now. He came here knowing that. How is this going to shake out with Torrance Gibson if you had to guess right now?
Jalin Marshall came here with the understanding that he wasn't going to play quarterback. Torrance Gibson's coming here under the assumption that he is going to get a fair crack at it, which means, in my mind, at least a year at that position to prove that that's where you need to stay. So where he ends up when he's a sophomore, junior, or whatever, I can't make any guarantees. I don't think Ohio State is anti-moving him, but I think part of the reason why they landed him was because they implanted in his brain that he is going to get a very big, fair shot at playing the quarterback position. That's what he really wanted, and ultimately the reason why I think he's coming here.
Not a similar situation, but we know. I mean, Troy Smith is the guy that you always can look back on things like this and say, here's a kid who came here not as a quarterback, as an athlete, wound up winning the Heisman Trophy as a quarterback. So you don't know how things are going to work out. So, Ari, thank you for the time. Doug Maurice along with Ari Wasserman talking recruiting here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center.